Hello, Coach Magazine Global audience. Today we are together with a coach from Japan, Aya. She has a beautiful background with spring blossoms. I love those things, and I would like to introduce our beloved coach, Aya. She already had an interview with our Turkish Coach Magazine. And we would like to update what's going on in her life, what's going on in Japan about coaching, what are the new projects. So let's delve into her coaching in Japan. Hello, Aya. Welcome. Thanks for being here with us. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Okay, thank you very much. So my name is Aya Usui. Aya means gratitude in Japanese. I'm a sustainable leadership coach. That means focusing on developing leaders who are really sustainable self as a being and also do the action towards creating sustainable world. So that is my profession, and I'm doing this coaching since 2014. So it's already 11 years now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I'm based in Japan, and then currently I'm in the city called Kamakura, which is a city where the first samurai was born.
Mhm.
It's 50 kilometers southwest of Tokyo. So
Oh.
we have an ocean and also we have mountains, so that is very beautiful nature place.
Yes, it sounds very beautiful. I'm in love with sea, the ocean, so I can imagine how beautiful it is. So, what made you step into coaching? Why did you choose? How do you become a coach?
Yes, that when I was before I was working in a corporate organization. I was doing global talent management work. And then the first thing that I wanted to introduce coaching to the leaders in that company. But before that, I wanted to learn by myself what is a coaching about. And once I stepped in the learning of coaching, I was really loved of this profession, that knowing who I am, and then that discovering my potential, and also like understanding my potential with this power that we can really see the potential of the others, the coachee, and that was very wonderful to really um, finding out those potential and then like flourishing. That so this is why that I started to run, and I was in. And at the first stage, I didn't think that I become professional coach, but now I see this is really like my given works profession. So I really enjoy being a coach.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
we talk about professional coaching in Japan, is it recognized as an organization or as a profession in Japan?
Mm. I think this coaching was imported from America about 25 years ago. So
Mhm.
around the year 2000, it came to Japan. And at that time, coaching was not familiar to, not popular to any Japanese. The coach was used for the sports coach, the coach for the baseball player or coach for soccer player, like that way. But nowadays, we have more coaches in Japan, and then that the company, even Japanese companies, starts to use executive or leadership coach, so that becomes more familiar to Japanese. So
Okay.
it's really starting really recognized as a profession.
So the company is looking for accreditation from the coaches if they hire any coach.
Yes, yes, they usually require like ICF accreditation most of the
Mm.
time in Japan. Mm.
And what would you say the numbers, like how many coaches are there, like what are the amount of, leadership coaching, what kind of niche areas in coaching in Japan?
I don't know exactly how many number of coaches in Japan currently, but it's usually that coaches are used in most of the times at corporate organization of any industry. Mm.
Is it is
But
it is it like an increasing trend?
yes, yes, it's increasing trend, I think so.
Yeah.
Thanks to the COVID, that before it was more like one-on-one face-to-face coaching.
Mhm.
But now after the COVID, thanks to the COVID, we use more like platform or online system like this.
Mhm.
So, and then it's much more easier access to have a coach. The cost of to hire the coach, I think it's because of this platform or online system. It
Mhm.
becomes more like a reasonable price
Mhm.
and accessible to many of leaders.
Yes. And do you think companies prefer internal coaches or hire external coaches?
Well, it depends on the case. If they, well, if they want to do like really like inside internal program mainly, then they sometimes more and more like internal coach exist,
Mhm.
so they use them. But when to develop specific leaders or to have more wider perspective, sometimes it's better to hire that. The most of the case, it's better to hire external coaches so that
Mhm.
it's gonna be more neutral and more like being a partner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe the
Mm.
company size is bigger. They train more HR personnel
Yeah.
about
Mm.
coaching, so they can do internally. What
Mm.
about volunteer projects in Japan about coaching? Are like does ICF Japan does any volunteer work in any area. Like in the UK,
Mhm.
EMCC made NHS volunteer work for the
Mm.
coaches, especially during the COVID time, because
Mm.
the medicine doctors, the nurses needed that kind of support.
Mm.
So EMCC provided coaches to do volunteer work in the medicine area. Are there any kind of
Mm.
projects like that in Japan? Do you know?
I don't hear such
Mm,
kind of initiative. Of
mm,
course, at ICF Japan, it's a volunteer of people doing like um, provide service like help that coaches circle or like a learning process together once a month or something that it's coordinated by ICF people, ICF Japan people, but they are all volunteer, I believe.
mm, mm,
So that kind of things are happening, but I never heard. I don't hear from, as far as I know, that we have kind of volunteer team to support like nurse or medicine doctors or like teachers. But I really liked this concept. Then, yeah,
mm,
we are thinking also because I'm doing a Climate Coaching Alliance Japan co-lead, and we were thinking during the COVID time, especially to support those leaders who are involving in the climate challenge,
mm,
like leaders from NGO or NPOs, profit organizations, initiator or activist
mm,
for climate.
mm.
Um, but yeah, we didn't do so much so far. But my personal, I do personally
Yeah, yeah.
volunteering
So
a lot
like
of. Yeah.
probably like you, all the other coaches have their own volunteer stuff
Mm,
they are
yeah.
doing.
Mm.
Yeah. So what about your new projects? Since
Ah,
we've been having
yes.
interviewed you, you
Yeah.
said you had new things, new projects going on. Would you like to talk about them?
Yeah, so it was 2 years ago that we had an interview. And then now, from this April, I'm launching a project to create a public international school in Japan for those children or youth. usually they go public school, public high school, what they are provided like a Japanese type of education, but want to create a school that provide more international and then can invite international students to be with also. So to create this, my role is I'm also co-lead for this project, but my role the mainly is to support like teachers or like those project members who create this school to coach them so that they can move forward easily. So I think the role of coach is very important to ask like powerful questions and then ask some questions so that they can really initiate, do the action, empower them. So that it's my role. And I'm very excited to do this
It is very
project.
exciting, yes.
Yeah. Mm.
In a book called Love Sense by Sue Johnson, she was talking about how teaching empathy in the primary schools
Mm.
changes the future of the humanity by percentages a lot. If
Mm.
you take, let's say, a child who is not very, obeying, well, it doesn't have to obey, but very naughty and not doing any work and disturb other children, if they bring a little baby to the classroom
Mm. Mm.
and let children see how they take care of the baby when it cries, then they, soothe the baby, all these things that make them very empathetic and
Mm.
change their behavior against
Yeah.
their
Mm.
peers, and they became more responsible children.
Mm.
And it was amazing to me when I read it, because the results, the percentages were very high, and I thought
Mm.
I wish in every country, in every school, they had this kind of project. So the
Yeah.
children,
Yeah.
not just for that moment in the
Mm.
classroom, but when they become an adult, they understand better, they behave
Mm.
better, they,
Mm.
help each other better. So coaching is a very important
Yeah.
tool in those kind
Mm.
of behavior changes.
Yeah. As I said before, that I'm trying to create sustainable leader that is
Mhm.
like really like being sustainable inside themselves. Like empathy, I think it's of course that empathy to other people is very important, but also before that, like to be inclusive themselves, like empathize, to have empathy to self,
Yes.
that it's very important. And then this February, I was visiting India, and then I went to Dharamsala, which is the place where the Dalai Lama is escaping or like having that Tibetan culture place. And
Mhm.
then I visited the Tibetan children's village. That is a school or community where to develop Tibet culture children. And then that I was really liked the idea about uh, the phrase from the Dalai Lama that they are educating really teacher about compassion and also empathy. So that was really important before we educate children with empathy. But to do that, we first educate or like, really nurture the educator with compassion. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that it's very important creating really like inclusive, like a peaceful world.
Yeah.
So that everybody like accepting, like including each other.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
So you say you've been to India, and I know before we started the interview, you've been to Australia to a yoga retreat. So did you
Yes.
meet any other coaches from other countries? How do you think the coaches around the world can support each other?
Yes, yes. Well, when I went to India, so I met my colleague from Climate Coaching Alliance. And then that was my first time to meet her, like face to face in the place. And then really, she was supporting what I'm doing. And then I would also like to support her. We did one of the activity together for ICF India beforehand. So it was very nice to meet. And then afterwards, I went to, in March, I went to France and Finland. I'm traveling a lot this year. And also meeting like French coaches, and it was really a good discussion with them. And then I was visiting Finland. I didn't meet, but yeah, I think in Finland also a lot of coaches, and then I really like this Climate Coaching Alliance and also supporting coaches each other globally, internationally, because that gives me a lot of best practice and we can learn from each other. And then really like sometimes I'm coached by like a German coach who is living in Hong Kong. We have a regular like exchange coaching. And the question coming from those background different coaches, it's really powerful to think really deeply.
Yeah.
And then that also skill up our coaching practice too. So I think it's very important to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to when we come back to Japan, like, is it a multicultural environment in the places that you live? Is there a lot of expats, and is
Mm,
it very important to know multicultural backgrounds by,
mm.
meeting this kind of different coaches around the world?
Mm. I think, of course, compared with 25 years ago or like 10 years ago, more and more like different backgrounds people are living here in Japan. If I go to Tokyo Station or like even Kamakura, that is very touristic place, we can see a lot of foreigner. But still that maybe because Japanese yen is very weak at this stage, so at this moment, and then people from overseas find Japan is very cheap place to travel. But anyway, even though it's increasing, but it's still like not enough, not like the UK or France or maybe Australia, that many nationality, many culture people interacting with each other. Not yet such a scale, but it's more than before.
Yeah, so you're coaching in your own language, Japanese, right?
Yeah, yes,
Mostly to
yeah,
Japanese people.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, I was asking this question in all the other country researches if knowing more than one languages helps or increase the capacity, the skills of coach. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I speak English and French and Japanese.
Mhm.
So that also gives a lot of, uh, it's wider the area where I can do I can provide the coaching.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm,
And it's very, I was participating in one of the training organized by French trainer in French recently. And it was really interesting that how those trainer or how those coaches or how those facilitator interact with each other, like facilitates the session. So that it really gives more um, tools or more possibility uh, to do the different things. So I
yeah,
think that understanding different language is very important.
yeah,
Mm.
gives you this
Mm.
different perspectives.
I also coaches recently like Filipino, also people from Singapore, people from Thailand. So in English, because I
Mhm.
do the coaching online also.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's for them, I think it's very fresh from me to ask questions, do the
Mhm,
coaching. And
mhm,
also for me, also, like the answer from them, it's really like something new for me. So, and it's very exciting to explore more, like deepen the insight. So it's really, I enjoy this work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to add as a last message from your country, from your perspective, from your coaching?
Mm. I think this kind of like conversation, exchanging our practice more often gonna be enrich our practice. So let's keep in touch and then do a lot of this kind of interaction. Yeah,
Yes.
and then I'm really if somebody asks me to talk, like in Africa or something, I'm very happy to go. And
Yes.
also, of course, by online too. And I'm very happy to receive those coaches visiting Japan, then maybe guide or also do the exchange something.
Yes, thank you for your time, Aya. It was lovely to meet you. It was our first time to engage with you, but I had a very great time and I learned a lot from you. I'm sure our audience, our readers also will learn what is coaching like in Japan from what you said from our interview. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.